Well, as you guys can tell, it's a little bit of a mess in here, so we're going to kind of get things straightened up. We're going to talk about some tools that I have out here in the shop, and I've got a couple things that I need to go through and see if they work, see if they need fixed, see if I'm going to get rid of them, and it'll be a fun little adventure, actually. So first things first is this workbench. Over the weekend, I was moving some stuff in here, and I kind of just threw a bunch of stuff on the bench. So we've got a bunch of gas cans up here. Now these cans I reuse because my lanterns and stoves, I use a couple of them pretty frequently, and the ones that I do use frequently, I just use regular pump gas in. So I'll just refill these cans with pump gas. And also when I do that, I write 87 as an 87 octane fuel on the can so that I know that this is just regular fuel. And then if it's a stove that I'm gonna put like in the camper or a lantern that I'm just gonna store for use later, I will store those with white gas in them. So I'm gonna stick these down here because they will go in the vehicle and get filled up later. Now what else do we got here? We got a bunch of tools right here. These are all my tools that I use for working on lanterns. I've been kind of consolidating them to this cigar box, some vice grips, basic screwdrivers. And I have these type of screwdrivers, which are gunsmithing screwdrivers, as you might refer to them, but they're flat. As you can see, they are not tapered on the ends. You can see there, so that they don't strip flathead screws out. That's the purpose of having that tip like that. It's handy to have a set of these screwdrivers around. And then right here I have this wrench that I actually made this, and this is for that frame nut on 220E model lanterns, and I believe there are other models, but that style, this wrench comes in really handy for that. And I made this just out of a thin piece of whatever, and I just filed it down to size there. Also, it always is handy to have one of these little tiny pry bars around. So we'll get all that in there. We'll kind of just close this. I'm going to get a better box to organize these tools in. This is just what I have for now. And actually, speaking of lanterns, this was laying up here. This is a reflector. Basically goes on the top up here like this. Then as you can see, you kind of have a more directional light if you're using a lantern. So this I'm gonna stick aside over here. And now let's finish getting all this cans of stuff we got. We got some PB Blaster up here. Always gotta have some PB Blaster on hand. WD-40, whatever you use. I'm a PB Blaster guy myself, so keep a can up here on the desk. We got a couple cans of starting fluid, always handy to have. Also works good for cleaning stuff. We've got sea foam. I run this in the lanterns, and this stuff is good just to kind of help keeping everything running smooth. And the torch. This is really handy to have as well. You use the torch for all kinds of things. Stuff like burning out old gaskets out of lantern fuel caps, melting heat shrink tubing on like electrical connections and stuff like that. It's good to have the old torch on hand. And this I actually usually keep up on the bench, just kind of over there in the corner out of the way. I've also got a can of this duster stuff. I found this stuff to come in really handy when you don't feel like firing up the air compressor just for blowing out, like, I don't know, maybe you have a little dust in there, you just want to blow out really quick. It's nice having a can of this stuff around. Also, carb cleaner. I always keep this handy, and I've always bought the CRC brand. I don't know why, but that's always the brand that I buy. So carb cleaner, definitely want to have that around. And that will stay up on the desk. And this I'm going to go over in my little cabinet over here where I keep my spray paint and stuff like that. Got some boiled linseed oil in there, some brake fluid, brake cleaner, just stuff like that. I keep in this cabinet. Pretty sure I actually got out of the dumpster. I got some of these little lanterns I keep up there just for fun, Always have like a knife you really don't care about messing up on hand, just for scraping stuff, for poking stuff, getting a little, something out of there or whatever, just junk or knife. That's at least good enough quality that it's not going to close on your hand, if you're using it. Good to have up on the desk. Got a box of mantles for when I'm working on lanterns. These are really cheap mantles off of Amazon. They're like 99 cents a piece, I think they come out to, maybe even 50 cents a piece. They don't work the best, they don't give off the best light, and they're way oversized. But if you're working on lanterns and you just need something to test with rather than, testing a lantern with some $5 mantles, they work great for that. And also, since we're talking about lanterns, I want to talk to you about how I hang all these lanterns up on these S-hooks. These come in 2-packs at the Dollar Tree, so it's actually an actual dollar for a 2-pack of these, which is a great deal. I mean, it's nothing fancy, it's just an S-hook. I've drilled holes up in these beams here to hang these on, and this works really good, not just for lanterns, but just for all kinds of things. It's actually really handy to have some S-hooks handy. You know, you can hang anything on them, you know, an extension cord, you know, stuff like that. It's handy to just have those, and for $1 for a 2-pack, you can't beat it. So hit up your Dollar Tree and buy them out. So let's take a look at some fun stuff now. So I got this and a couple other things that were a yard sale kind of bundle find of some camping gear that I found. And one thing was this MSR. It's one of those multi-fuel stoves where you fill this bottle with gas, you pump it up. So it works similar to a Coleman lantern, Coleman stove or whatever. You basically just pressurize this with a pump and then hook it up to here. Flame comes out the stove. From what the guy told me, it's unused. So can't really beat that. And this is another thing that's out of that garage sale deal that I found. This is just a 2-burner propane stove. Now, pay attention to this part because I'm going to be adding a trading post up on the website to justify some of my hobbies. I'm going to sell some of this stuff that I find on the site. But this thing is pretty cool. It kind of stores away like this. So you have these 2 little burner plates that come out there. Then you have your tube for hooking your propane here. So you flip this thing over, and these burners have these little tabs here and here. And those, as you can see, go into that little pocket there. So it just twists in there. Same deal over here. And then what you have is a burner, and you have 2 individual knobs for each burner, as well as the main knob for the propane. So I'm gonna hook this thing up and I'm gonna see if it works. This takes these little disposable bottles you can buy at Walmart. So let's see, we will put that tube on there first, make sure it's nice and tight. Close that valve all the way. And now this is where the other end of the tube screws in. So we'll put that up there, kind of get that threaded on. And I guess the propane will just kind of rest there, I suppose. So now let's fire this thing up. You want to make sure that these knobs are off. I'm going to open up the valve on the propane tank. Okay, so now we will light the burners. Remember guys, light the match and then do the gas. There we go. Burner 1, burner 2. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that'd cook something. Okay, and you can run them nice and low. You know, that's cool. It's a cool little deal, actually. Now, another thing that I got from that little bundle, never been out of the box, Coleman North Star propane lantern. So I'm pretty sure this is the brightest lantern that Coleman makes. Now, I'm really into the gas Coleman lantern, so I'll probably end up selling this one on the website as well, but you can get it out and check it out. I'm not going to completely take it all out of the package. You got a base, and that's the same deal. This takes those propane cartridges like that stove takes. I don't see a mantle for it anywhere, guys, so actually looking at this contents list, I guess it's actually not supposed to come with a mantle, so you have to get a mantle for this one. So honestly, that little stove and that lantern wouldn't make a bad combo. I'd say they both run on the same fuel, same type of canisters, so that'd be kind of cool, I guess. Now, one more little thing I got out of that bundle was this Coleman 425 stove. Now, this runs on gas, white gas, or you can run it on regular old 87 octane from the gas station as well. I just want to break this thing out, see if it needs anything fixed right off the bat. I want to be putting together an order for Old Town Coleman here. I've got a couple generators I need to order for some of these other lanterns. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, basically, there's fuel inside here. You pressurize it up, kind of like you're pumping up a super soaker, and then the fuel is going to come out this tube, which goes into these burners, and you'll have flame that you can cook on. See if everything turns. Everything seems to turn. Everything seems to turn there, so that's good. Okay, now let's just pump this thing up. Thumb over the hole, just start pumping. So I say we try and light it up. There we go. And you want to let that run for a minute, and then we will turn this lever down. And that's just to heat up this tube, or it's called the generator, that fuel is flowing through. Once it gets to a certain temperature, the fuel atomizes. Is that the right word? Basically turns to a vapor, so it'll flow. The control for the second burner is over here on the side. Not bad really for a stove, which is, who knows the last time this thing was fired up. I'm gonna get some of this rust off here, probably just with some steel wool. Definitely gonna be holding on to this thing. Sorry guys, this is not going on the website. Eventually I will get some of these up on the trading post on the website though. And other than that guys, check back in and we'll see you soon.